Hey everyone, you're listening to my podcast titled Suchitra's Life, and it's me, Suchitra. Today I think I had gone back to read a book that has been quite close to my heart, and I felt like in today's podcast, I want to talk a bit about this book. It's an evergreen classic that I keep going back to, and that always helps me in looking at my life. You know, it's a book that I usually go to whenever I feel lost, whenever I feel like really hopeless. I think this book has always managed to help me somehow. I mean, any book you read would give you something, but there are few books that are timeless and you can just go back to them again and again and again, yet feel rejuvenated and hopeful. So, the book that I'm going to mention today is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And I remember first coming across this book probably when I was in my college. Like, I would usually, sit in the library and try to browse through a lot of books. And I think that's when I came across a teeny tiny book titled The Prophet, and the cover of it had some sort of hand drawn human figures. So when I read the title, I felt, oh my god, this must be a religious book. And I was like, oh, I can't really pick this one up because I am just not that religious. And then I remember keeping it back just because the title felt a little way too religious for me. And it's only after some time that the title of this book kept popping up, and I decided that okay, since it's like people are talking about it, or someone recommending it, or somewhere you read that people are recommending this book and stuff, only then that I thought, okay, I should just pick this one up and see how it goes. To my surprise, I remember reading certain sentences again and again, and I was smiling. I was deeply feeling a certain emotion. This book gives it all. It's literally talking about life, and the beauty of it is that Khalil Gibran didn't leave any aspect of life untouched in this book. Surprisingly, it's a really short book. Like, you can read it in a day, but to really understand it, I guess you will have to go back to certain sentences or certain passages again and again. Okay, to give you a little brief about this book, so it's about a person, or you could call a master or whoever you want to call. His name is Al Mustafa. So he stayed in this city called Orphalese for quite some time. So basically, he is a wanderer. He was waiting for his ship and his people to come back to take him back on his journey. So while waiting for his ship, he managed to spend some time in this city called Orphalese. And one fine day, he wakes up and he realizes that his ship has returned, and now he has to leave the city of Orphalese. And that's when he realizes that love doesn't really know its depth until the hour of separation. And the moment he starts to go towards the ship, all the people of the city, they kind of come to him and they express their love for him, and they ask for his suggestion. Like, they ask him, you've spent some considerable time in our city, what advice would you give, or what do you want to tell us, like a parting thought? And Al Mustafa, he tells them many things, many beautiful things, I guess. He talks about love, marriage, children, giving, work, eating and drinking, joy and sorrow, house, clothes, buying and selling, crime and punishment, loss, freedom, reason and passion, pain, self-knowledge, teaching, friendship, talking, time, good and evil, prayer, pleasure, beauty, religion, and death. And finally, he bids farewell to them and he gets onto the ship. So maybe I was quite young when I first read it, but I do remember the feeling that this man, the way he wrote it, I mean, of course, the translators have done an amazing job, but Khalil Gibran was a Lebanese writer, and the way he wrote this book, it just, I don't know, I start looking at life differently whenever I read this book. Usually we go about doing our own thing and life becomes pretty mechanical and we forget certain things. This book is a good reminder for all of us, like whoever wants to pick it up and read it. I'm sure this book would also be something that you would keep going back to, and I hope you do, because the kind of nuggets that it gives is something only you would understand when you read it. He talks about many things, especially I think the one that has been quite famous is about children, wherein he says, your children are not your children, but they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. So this has been this has become quite popular. And about marriage and love, I think he gives beautiful relationship and dating tips, but in a way that makes sense to you, that touches your heart. It's written in a very, what do you say, a poetic way, but you will be able to make sense of it. And I'm sure that this book will bring you some kind of solace in these times. With that, I'd like to sign off. Take care. Bye.